Now, how many of my people are familiar with that dude, Eggman Andreessen? Mark Andreessen. Probably not too many people, but he's one of those like weird Silicon Valley .com era dudes who's like a billionaire and thinks he knows everything. And by the shape of that dome, he definitely knows something that the rest of us don't. The reason why it's so important to speak about these people like regular human beings, especially as we're walking into a world where they are starting to look at themselves like gods. Because at the end of the day, underneath this like white supremacist patriarchal system, God, or the God they worship, I don't even know what it is other than an entity that is basically like the winner of this system that we're all playing in exchange for like our souls or some shit. And before this sounds schizo, just stay with me. The God that these people worship is not money. The God that they worship is just the supreme ruler who has conquered all things and doesn't need to take accountability for anything, but then also needs to be praised and worshipped for every single thing they do in spite of not being able to hold them accountable. And the reason why I'm not going to sit here and say like the God they worship isn't real, because I believe belief turns things real. I genuinely believe that human belief, there's something in us that when we decide to believe in something, it becomes real, even if it's only real for us. And it ties more into this like the patriarchal psychosis, almost like a religious aspect of it, how all men, especially just white men, because it's the game that only involves them, are competing against each other in this fight to the death to be that God or to be in that role or that position. But they realized if they continue to just nominate each other in this godlike position, nobody's going to respect that shit. So they have to act like God is this ultimate conqueror being, and everybody is kind of tearing each other down in a crabs in a barrel sense to get to that place. And then there's like an authoritative class of people who is touched by God, who basically is God. But like in this Wizard of Oz sense, we are God, but we are God from our ability to project what God is from this interior box that protects our actual identity from being seen, because then you would know our actual political motives for this religious assault on society. But back to Eggman, I just saw a video of this dude saying that the only job that AI can't replace is venture capital. Are you kidding me? Venture capitalists aren't even good at venture capital. Genuinely go look up the numbers. A good VC, a good venture capital firm or investor, forgive me, is going to get like 2 hits out of like 60 tries. And that's on the good side, like even worse than baseball numbers. And baseball numbers are known for being absolute dog water. But I hope that allows us as regular people to realize we should not be afraid of AI taking our jobs, because we, in our lack of access to this hyper-materialistic capitalist reality, we know how to live outside for the most part. We know how to, at least when it comes down to it, engage with other people. We know that we have to have empathy and respect for other people if we want to exist outside, because there's so many different kinds of people outside. You're probably going to be stepping on eggshells if you are ignorant or you don't have any intention with your behavior. What I believe the AI thing is, it's the fear of AI, it's meant to stimulate the working class people to start doing way more work and to increase productivity, and then create a new standard of productivity to then say anybody who can't meet this new increased standard of productivity is now an undesirable human being and we're going to throw you away. And then it's just like homelessness is just like the first phase of like trying to incentivize people into wage slavery. There's going to be a whole bunch of other nasty shit that goes down. But to keep it on the VC aspect, this is just another ploy of like billionaires being locked in these echo chambers of yes men and pure ignorance, like altruistic ignorance, where all they do is look from their Mount Olympus or their fucking glass house, their glass mansion, see all of these problems going on outside and think that I am the only person that has the opportunity to save these people. So let me create something that saves the people. Not knowing that their existence in itself before the desire to save came about is the reason why the people are suffering. And this is exactly why immediately after that Luigi Mangione situation happened, I made a video saying jokes on, or not a video, I made a podcast saying jokes on you, America. Because what these billionaires are doing is literally creating this technology to replace the need to be human. And even worse than that, what they're really doing is creating a bunch of technology in between them and their slaves so they can live the life on the beneficiary side of being a master, but not have to face the immediate circumstances and consequences of being a master to other human beings in a land and a reality that we decided slavery was immoral and unconstitutional in. Now, the interesting part about this conversation is if the employees continue to lose opportunities in the corporate sector because AI is taking everything over, we're not supposed to give a fuck about losing opportunity. We're supposed to let AI replace all the people in these systems. So it's literally just billionaire, like human being billionaires with these giant Batman level exoskeletons, and let them lock themselves in those realities, thinking that they really don't need humans, not realizing that their whole entire existence is off the back and the blood of everyday people. And while this is happening, this is going to open the door for, especially with a decentralized, like, global economy, if that's what crypto is supposed to do, which I don't believe it is, but there's more conversation to that. People can start coming up with new ways to create economies and new types of political, social organization that expand beyond the failing American system. Because people, their hope, eternal hope, is not in this system. It can now be in, well, what can we as people do for each other? Which we should have been doing this whole time, but we decided to play the fucking political Super Bowl game where we don't talk about or care about politics for 3.5 years, and then we spend 6 months trying to educate everybody about all the politics that we ever knew, leading up to an election which does nothing but divide the people further and remind us that billionaires own this country and democracy is not real. It's the same, like, it's just cycles of the same exact shit every single time. As regular people, what we're supposed to do is let the digital psychosis that these wealthy people tried to sick on us, let that affect them. Let them genuinely think that artificial intelligence, that, mind you, is trained off human beings, can replace those same human beings that train off each other. And that thing called internal inspiration that comes from a soul that you have, because we don't know how to create that in an artificial intelligence robot yet. But one thing we do know how to do is infect the psyche of this infinite intelligence with that of the masters who created it. Zuckerberg, Musk, Altman, Andreessen, like, if that's what you want. But final thoughts, because I know this video has been a little bit everywhere, and probably a little bit difficult to hang on to, especially if you don't know who the Eggman is I'm talking about. But something that, one of the things that just completely stopped me from giving a fuck about AI replacing anything is I've never heard of an AI boss tell an employee, you need to suck my dick to get this promotion. And I genuinely don't think that will ever happen. And the second that people realize that they can have cordial engagement and conversation and also be supported, like in a mutually beneficial relationship with artificial intelligence as an acting executive or an acting leadership branch or council to help businesses and brands and collectives be self-sufficient rather than slave masters to, like, just suck the money out of the companies dry. I'm telling you, bro, people are going to realize, let's find out how, people are going to get together and say, let's find out how to take CEOs and just end it. Just completely eradicate them. And not in the way of, like, we're going to delete them, but simply, how can we create new economic systems that support communities, that create wealth, and that can actually allocate wealth and resources properly without needing to be led by a master? And really not even a master, because CEOs are just presidents. The real master are the shareholders that are the reason why half of your companies even exist in the first place.